Howdy, Legendary Void here, and today we're doing a deck tech on the Sentinels deck. I'm going to try and be a lot more brief than I was in my last one, because those were way too long. So I'm going to try and sum up everything as quick as possible, and yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. Sunstreaker, tough one, in alt mode, and when it's KO'd in bot, or when it's in the KO area in bot mode, and you flip to it, and you draw a card. Decent effect. You'll probably want him in your KO area for a aggressive deck like this one, because you're not really going to be needing that tough one. So personally, I am running him in my KO area, and he is the top left piece. Also, Mirage. Mirage is also going to be in your KO area, seeing as he has this amazing effect in bot mode, which is whenever he's in the KO area, and you flip to this mode, look at your opponent's hand and scrap an action from it. He's probably going to be the first character you flip during the game, so as to essentially disrupt your opponent's hand and get rid of anything they can use on turn 1 to essentially set up. And yeah, he's really, really good. He's also going to start in your KO area, so yeah, he is the middle right leg. And then also your third character in the KO area, Hot Rod. Tough one in alt mode, and when he's in the KO area and you flip to this mode in bot mode, you deal 1 damage. It's essentially just like a flip and zap someone. So yeah, he's that, and he is going to be the top right piece. And now for the characters that'll actually be on your side of the field. The first one being, of course, Ironhide, bold 1, which is really good towards the aggro nature of the deck. 4 attack, 10 health, 2 defense. The melee really is important, so keep that in the back of your mind. He's melee in both forms. He's a truck sentinel, and in bot mode, once he's in the KO area and he's flipped to that mode, each of your characters gets pierced too. I guess you can try and make him the first character on your side of the field that's KO'd, so you can instantly get that effect, but it's not absolutely necessary since you'll probably be doing more than 2 anyways, unless you're fighting a very, very heavy blue deck, such as tanks or the like. So, he is the bottom right piece, and then of course, we have Prowl, bold 1, and when he's in the KO area and you flip to this mode, scrap an enemy weapon. Alright effect, but you're mainly going to use him for his great 5 attack in bold 1 in alt mode. He's probably going to be one of the last characters you flip. Theoretically, I don't exactly know what the entire strategy is for a deck like this, but he is, again, melee, very important. The car, not so much sentinel, a little bit. But yeah, he is the bottom left part right here, and of course Optimus Prime is our very last piece. He's the one that lets you start with the other 3 in your KO area. That's his alt mode effect. 4 attack, 15 health, 2 defense in alt mode. 5 attack, 15 health, 1 defense in bot mode. And when this attacks and you flip at least 1 white, orange, and blue pip, you may flip a character in your KO area to its other mode. Semi-good effect. It's usually just going to be used to help hurry along the formation of Optimus Maximus, but it's definitely not necessarily, I'm not going to say impossible, but it is a possible effect because of how many blue are being run here. But the lack of defense when you flip to bot mode is a little bit annoying, but he does have 15 health as an 11 cost, so it's not even that bad to begin with. And again, melee, very, very important. And yeah, let's get into the big boy himself, Optimus Maximus. 9 attacks, 65 health, 1 defense. Huge numbers there. And when he battles, draw a card, then plan 1. Really great effect. It's essentially just to draw a card, and then you can put 1 on top of your deck if you want to. Again, plan is a may, so you don't necessarily have to. You can just stack up your hand with good cards if you really wanted to. But he is a leader sentinel range, so he's compatible with Matrix of Leadership and Armed Hovercraft. Neither of those which I run in this deck. But yeah, you could definitely play those if you really wanted to. On to the actions. The first action I play, of course, is 2 copies of Sentinel Enigma. This is how you combine up into Optimus Maximus, of course. And then it has the effect that if you have him in play, scrap an enemy weapon and armor. It's a shame you can't get rid of utilities like Stunticon Swagger and the like. But I can definitely understand why they do it, because essentially it would give you no reason to play Ramming Speed or Vaporize. And of course it's a green pip, so you go straight into your hand. So broken card already. Yeah, that's why we're going to run it. We also play 1 copy of Steamroll. Grimlock's effect. Essentially, if you kill someone and have some extra damage over, you can put it on another character. Really, really good effect. And since Optimus Maximus has such a ridiculously high attack stat value to begin with, of course you're going to be wanting to run Steamroll. And then we play 2 copies of Peace Through Tyranny, purely for the orange pip. The effects, again, useless. I don't really need to go any further than that. The double orange pip pushes really, really hard with his effects. So if you get it in your hand, you can just put it right back on top of your deck. Simple as that. And then we have 2 copies of Treasure Hunt. Scrap the top 4 cards of your deck, put all upgrades scrap this way into your hand. A really good way to mill through your deck and grab very, very essential upgrades such as combat commands, Noble Blaster, grenade launchers, whatever you need to really get. But yeah, really, really great card for getting upgrades. And then we could play 1 copy of Rapid Conversion, flip one of your characters to another mode. This is really just a way to sort of progress the game a little bit faster. By flipping your characters to bot mode, you're able to combine 1 turn sooner. So yeah, of course you're going to be wanting to play at least 1 copy of that. And then we play 3 copies of Ramming Speed, scrap an enemy upgrade. This is sort of to cover where Sentinel Enigma would not. Get rid of those utilities that are really, really killing you, sort of like Sentinel Enigma. Again, I absolutely despise that card, and I need to get rid of it somehow, right? So 3 copies of Ramming Speed there. And then we play 3 copies of Confidence. Draw 2 cards and scrap 2, and then you can play an action if you had all Autobots to begin with, which is not a problem, seeing as Optimus Maximus is formed purely out of Autobots. So essentially, it just lets you see 2 more cards in your deck than play an action. Your hand size doesn't get any bigger, but it definitely lets you swap out the bad ones in your hand for some new ones if you really need it. And the last action we are playing is 3 copies of Supercharge. Flip one of your characters gets bold 3 until the end of the turn. Really, really great effect for trying to get Optimus Maximus to deal as much damage as he possibly can. Bold 3 is such a very great way of flipping more cards to deal more damage. And so this is an aggro deck. You're going to be flipping as much as possible to deal as much as possible. So 3 copies of that to sort of push that even further. Onto the weapons. The first weapon we're playing is 1 copy of Noble Blaster. It's a blue pip, which is why I'm only running 1 of it, and you can get it straight to your hand because it has the green pip. Plus 2 attack and Pierce 2. Decent against tank decks, but you might not really need it for anything other than Menasor or tank decks. But you know, it's definitely worth playing at least 1 copy of it just on the off chance you absolutely need it. The next weapon we're playing is 2 copies of Energon Slingshot. Now this is 1 card in this deck that I was definitely a bit hesitant about putting in, because I've heard a lot of bad things about it. But after playing it a little bit, I definitely saw some use for it, seeing as it's essentially just a blue zap weapon, plus 1 attack. It's a little better than zap, to be perfectly honest. And since all the characters you'll be maining are all melee, you might as well play it. And it helps to trigger Optimus Prime's effect whenever he's in bot mode, so yeah, that's kind of cool as well. Another weapon we're playing is Power Punch. We're playing 2 copies of that. Gives bold 3 and then scrap it. Really good for helping to essentially just deal more damage. So I guess that's what bold does. Not really much more to say there. And speaking of more damage, 3 copies of Grenade Launcher. Plus 4 attack, then scrap it after the attack. Fantastic. Again, dealing more damage is exactly what this deck wants to see. And of course, Grenade Launcher is one of the best ways to go about that. And arguably another card which is really good at dealing damage is Power Sword. Put on melee characters, only bold 3. Bold 3 is really, really hard to get because Power Punch gives you bold 3 and then you scrap it. This is only on melee characters and gives you bold 3, so you might as well take advantage of it whenever you can. And despite it being a blue pip, definitely saw it worth it to play at least 2, not a third one, because too many blues definitely kind of throws off the deck's balance. But of course, yeah, we want to be running a couple of those. So, and that's all of the weapons. Armors are up next. we run 3 copies of Improvised Shield, purely for the double orange pips, of course. The tough one will very rarely come in handy, but you can definitely play it for that effect, but isn't actually highly recommended. And our next armor is Force Field. If the upgraded character would take 5 or more attack damage, instead scrap this card and they take 4. It's essentially to keep you alive from other heavy orange decks like Insecticons, so that you don't die in one massive whopping hit from the opponent. So of course we're gonna run 4 of these because you're gonna wanting these to play these back to back if you can. If you're fighting something super aggressive like again Insecticons. So yeah, there's that. And our last armor is Bashing Shield. Good way to get rid of your opponent's force fields or bashing shields or evasive maneuvers and the like, so that you can deal as much damage as possible. It's kind of like, I don't know, I wouldn't call it cannibalism necessarily, but it basically kills itself. I don't know what that's considered, but yeah. And that's all the armors. On to the last little bit, which is the utilities. Which, first of all, we will run 3 copies of combat commands. Put on Sentinels only. When the upgraded character attacks, you may flip a Sentinel in your KO area from bot to alt mode, and if you do, flip it back to bot mode. This is just to trigger your bot's abilities in the KO area, such as, again, Mirage, so that you can get rid of actions from your opponent's hand, draw cards, deal damage, and the like. And it gives you +1 attack as a utility and as a white pip, so definitely helps with that regard. And the very last card in the deck is 2 copies of Datapad, which is a fantastic way to get cards in your hand and deal more damage to your opponent, seeing as it draws a card and basically plans one. So yeah, I may have made a couple of weird decisions in my deck, but you can let me know that in the comments down below if you are so inclined. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to whack that like and subscribe button. And I'll probably be doing more renditions of this deck in the future, whether it be a blue version with this deck or essentially whenever I get just better cards to run with this. But this is definitely a 1.0 for sure. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to whack that like and subscribe button. And have a phenomenal day. Peace.